Hey everyone, Dr. DeCubellis from Main Street Chiropractic, joined with Phil from Sandhill Coffee. And today we want to talk about a pour over and how you can do this at home and make sure you don't screw it up. So Phil?
No, thanks again for having me, Doctor. Just going to go over what a pour over is and a couple quick tips to make your pour over experience a little better at home.
Sounds good.
So here we're going to start with the water because that's kind of one thing that's overlooked a little bit. So ideally you want to use water that's between 195 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you don't have a temperature regulated tea kettle or anything to regulate the water temperature, a good way to pay attention to that is bring water to a boil, which is 212. Let it rest for about 45 seconds, and you're right in that zone.
Okay.
So next is the pour over. So this, when you're talking in the coffee world, when you're talking about brewing by a pour over, this is what you mean. This glass dripper, a filter, and your coffee grounds. So essentially what you're doing is you are literally just pouring water over the coffee grounds directly into your mug. So if you're not drinking, a pot's worth of coffee every morning, this is a great way to brew your coffee.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, so first what you're going to do is you're going to measure out your grounds. So pour over is a little different. You're going to use, again here, you could look online and find different ratios. I use 2 tablespoons, and that's roughly 27, 28 grams of coffee. But if you don't have a small envelope scale or a coffee scale for measuring things out, 2 tablespoons right into the filter. It's a good way to start. And then if you don't have a scale to measure your final output of water, so I know I'm getting really technical there, just eyeball how much water is in your mug.
Okay.
So we're going to make this, you're going to add water 3 times. So 3 rounds of water, and that should be good for your mug. So just like in other videos, the cold brew and the French press that we talked about previously, your initial time of adding water, you just want enough to soak the grounds, because that's going to start that process of pulling out those flavors of coffee. So just enough water, get the grounds wet. And so what's happening is the water's going, through the coffee grounds and dripping out the filter right into your cup. So one important thing about a pour over as well, you do not want to let the grounds dry out.
Okay.
So as soon as you see the water just about has fully receded or fully, filtered through, hit it with the next round of water. And with the second round of water, you're going to go slow to avoid making a big mess. But you can pretty much fill this filter up to the top. And you let that drain out. So as this water is draining, the grounds you're going to see that are stuck to the side of the filter a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time you add water, what you'll do is you start from the outside. So you just get water on those grounds and work your way into the middle. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. This way you're keeping those grounds saturated in water and continuing to pull those flavors out that you're eventually going to enjoy.
That makes sense. And it happens relatively quickly too. It's not taking a ton of time, which is good.
Right. Yeah, overall, this process probably takes 5 minutes tops.
Okay.
All right, so the water level's pretty low. We're going to hit it with our last round of water. Go slow around the edges just to get all those grounds off the filter. And then just going to do a quick check to see what the water level's like. Okay, so that should be right near the top of the cup as soon as we're all done.
All right, perfect.
And I know it's hard to see here on the camera, but from your spot, you can kind of see the water dripping down the filter there on the sides.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And now, is it actually grooved like it looks?
It is, yep.
Okay.
So here you can pull the filter back a little bit and see that there's grooves. And that just
Oh,
helps
yeah.
channel the water down because sometimes if this wasn't grooved, it wouldn't flow as well. The process would take a little longer.
Okay. And now when we talk about filter, any specific kind of filter that is better for something like this?
Yes. Let me grab it really quick. Should
Yeah.
have that over here. So it's a size 2 filter. And generally, if you're buying these online, if you just do a search on the internet, Google, Amazon, and you just search size 2 pour over filter, all the options are going to come up.
Okay.
But yeah, this is kind of general idea for what it looks like.
Okay. That makes sense.
So just a cone filter that you would open up, place inside the dripper, and then put your grounds in.
Okay.
And just about done. And there's a quick overview on a pour over.
Nice. It makes sense. It's a nice way to make one cup of coffee at a time and make it the way you want it, instead of having to have a pot and have it sit there for a couple hours and maybe you waste a bunch of coffee. So
then you got to go to the microwave, reheat it.
Yeah. So reheating coffee is never ideal.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you very much, and I hope now this makes sense how to do the pour over and also the type of filter you need for that. So thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks again and enjoy.
Perfect.